Today we are discussing books that have recently been sent to me by publishers, and we have some good ones. Hola mi gente, MsMalcolmHughes here. Welcome back. I'm super excited to discuss with you all the books that have recently been sent to me from different publishers. So let's just get right into it. The first one I'm super excited about because if you've been keeping up with the channel for as long as I've been on YouTube, one of the first books I ever reviewed was As I Am by Brittany Griner. And I was so excited to get this one in the mail, which is Coming Home by Brittany Griner, written with Michelle Burford. Let's talk about it. And so as you all know, this has to deal with Brittany Griner being detained in Russia and her time there. And then this is the story of her coming home. But the official description reads, on February 17th, 2022, Brittany Griner arrived in Moscow ready to spend the WNBA offseason playing for the Russian women's basketball team, for which she had been the centerpiece of previous championship seasons. Instead, a security checkpoint became her gateway to hell when she was arrested for mistakenly carrying less than 1 gram of medically prescribed cannabis oil. Brittany's world was violently upended, a crisis that she has never spoken in detail about publicly until now. In Coming Home, Brittany finally shares the harrowing full story of her sudden arrest days before Russia invaded Ukraine, her bewilderment and isolation while navigating a foreign legal system during her trial and sentencing, her emotional and physical anguish as the first American woman ever to be detained at the IK2 prison camp while the We Are BG movement rallied for her release, the chilling prisoner swap for Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout, and her remarkable rise from hostage to global spokesperson on behalf of America's Forgotten. In haunting and vivid detail, Brittany takes readers inside the horrors of a geopolitical nightmare spanning 10 months. And yet, Coming Home is more than Brittany's journey from captivity to freedom. In an account as gripping as it is poignant, she shares how her deep love for Sherelle, her college sweetheart and wife of 6 years, anchored her during their greatest storm. How her family's support pulled her back from the brink, and how hundreds of letters from friends and neighbors lent her the resolve to keep fighting. Coming Home is both a story of survival and a testament to love, the bonds that brought Brittany home to her family and at last to herself. And so, I'm really excited to have gotten this. It's Pride Month, but also that deep connection to just one of the earlier works I've ever reviewed on the channel. So then be able to come back and talk about this iteration, where she is now, and all that's occurred, especially during such a harrowing time. I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one and sharing it with all of you. The next book we have is Monsters We Have Made by Lindsay Stark. I remember reading the description for this one and being like, that should hopefully be a really good story. Here it is. 13 years ago, Sylvia Gray's young daughter Faye attacked her babysitter in order to impress the Kingman, a monster she and her best friend had encountered on the internet. When the now 23-year-old Faye goes missing, leaving her toddler behind, Sylvia launches a search that propels her back into the past and back into the Kingman's orbit. With the help of her estranged husband and a sister she hadn't spoken to in years, Sylvia draws dangerously closer to not only Faye, but also to the truth about the monster that once inspired her. Will Sylvia be able to reach her daughter before history repeats itself? Or will Sylvia now lose her grip on reality and succumb to the dark powers of this monstrous fiction? Yeah, so this one, I'm a big fan of Criminal Minds, and this just felt like something right out of a Criminal Minds episode. So I'm hoping that this lives up to my expectations. The next book I received is The Quiet Tenant by Clemence McCallan. And here is what it's about. Aidan Thomas, a recent widower raising his 13-year-old daughter Cecilia, is a beloved figure in his small upstate New York town, the kind of neighbor who always lends a hand and has a good word for everyone. Aidan also has a dark secret. He's a kidnapper and a serial killer. He's murdered 8 women, and there's a 9th marked for death, Rachel, imprisoned for 5 years in a backyard shed. When he and Cecilia have to move, Aiden has no choice but to bring Rachel along, introducing her to Cecilia as a family friend who needs a place to stay. Aiden is betting that Rachel will be too brainwashed and fearful to attempt an escape. But Rachel is a fighter, and she sees in Cecilia the lifeline she's waited for all these years, and in Emily, the local restaurant owner newly interested in Aiden, either an ally or his next victim. Both a searing thriller and an astute study of trauma survival and the dynamics of power, The Quiet Tenant is an electrifying debut thriller by a major talent. With these last two, you might see a trend in the type of books that I wanted to get from publishers. I'm really, this year I've been getting more into thrillers, and I always love just like a psychoanalysis into humans and why they do what they do. And so another book that I'm really looking forward to getting into. The next one we have is The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue. And this is what this book is about. Cork, Ireland. It's Christmas, it's 2009, and Rachel Murray is a 20-year-old who has just discovered teenage rebellion. Her quiet life as a dependable girlfriend, employee, student, and daughter has just been upended by her sudden friendship with fellow bookstore colleague James Devlin. On a whim, James asks her to move in with him. James is in the closet. Rachel doesn't mind. When Rachel falls in love with her married professor, Dr. Fred Byrne, James helps her devise a reading at their local bookstore with the goal that she might seduce him afterward. But Fred has other desires. So begins a series of secrets and compromises that intertwine the fates of James, Rachel, Fred, and Fred's glamorous, well-connected bougie wife. Aching with unrequited love, shot through with delicious, sparkling humor, The Rachel Incident is a triumph. This one for me is the one where I'm like, I wonder how this one will end up going, because the description is very vague, but I'm again hoping for great things. These are some of the books I've recently received from publishers. Just something I wanted to come on and share quickly with you all. More book reviews to come, more book mail and book buys will be coming as well. But as always, until the next one, I am MsMalcolmHughes, one who believes that books are sometimes better than people. Please remember to be kind to each other, to give time, and to have the very best day of your life on purpose. Peace, o dabo, adios, ciao.